The board is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. All lines from FanDuel as of Thursday.
Let's start Friday night. In other years, this would be our salute to service. Now, we've talked about this. Jim went with Navy in the opening week.
Oops.
Man, they took us by sea. Me and you both bet against Army in week 2. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Went excellent. That was actually week 1, excuse me. Week 0, week 1. We have not dabbled with the storming the skies with Air Force.
Our last bastion of defense.
A year ago almost to the day, we had Air Force, a double-digit favorite, in Logan, Utah, or wherever, Ogden, Utah.
It is
wherever,
Logan.
Okay, Logan,
Ogden's
Utah.
the minor league baseball team, the Raptors.
Of course you know this. Taking on Utah State. Air Force, 9.5-point favorites. Friday night, 8 o'clock, CBS Sports Network. Jim, this is where I'm going to be very careful. I wanted to ask you this. Should this be the salute to service play? Air Force has not looked impressive in any way, shape, or form. Last week, winning 13-3 against Sam Houston State. That ain't going to get it done. Utah State's interesting. Now, whatever they did against Idaho State, I think they won 80-28 or whatever. You just disregard it. Go back to their performance against Iowa.
Hung in.
They didn't show their ass. They played okay. This quarterback they got, Lagasse, this is the kid that came in last year. Starter was injured, lit up Air Force. Air Force, Laurier, their quarterback, has been meh. He's thrown 6 total passes in 2 games. The defense looks good. I wanted your opinion on this because as much as I want to play Air Force, I also wonder, we talked about this in the previews. They lost to Zeke Daniels. They lost a lot of their playmakers. They lost Brad Roberts. What do you do here?
Well, they're supposed to have a defense, right? We talked about them. They were the biggest threat in the Mountain West to Boise State. They haven't looked like it, though.
No.
And I got to lay 9.5 on Friday night.
I talked my way out of this game.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, because I know we had some high hopes for Air Force. I'm starting to wonder if their offense is truly one-dimensional, even by option standards. And, look, if you can't score, if you don't have explosives, you're not covering big numbers. And Lagasse already cut this defense up last year. It's a stay away, but I am going to get you to bet on Air Force or against them at one point.
At some point, we have to give our country a chance to defend the skies and have some level of defense. Not this week.
Let's go to game number 2. I know you got to play on this one.
Game number 2. It's super trappy. No, I'm not playing this one.
No, I thought with the super trappy headline, we were going to get you involved.
Super trappy. This is a noon kick on ABC. Number 3, Florida State, minus 26.5 at Boston College, Chestnut Hill. And, Mike, hurricane winds in the area. So this is trappy with Clemson looming and a hurricane looming. That's where the points get a little interesting. You got a mobile QB on the side of BC, an under that's been bet down into the 47 territory. BC or pass, and we both love Florida State, but this is the definition of a trappy spot.
You got to take BC.
No.
9% of tickets make up 12% of money. Ain't nobody betting Boston College. They're the last can of soup on the grocery aisle.
Have you seen any of BC?
I am not a supporter of the Fighting
So they had
Athletes.
the play in week 1 where the quarterback extended the play like it was Madden and the other team's controller broke. He's this 5'10", Castellanos guy. He runs around, makes plays. If this turns into a low-scoring, windy, wet game, I'd like having the points, but I am not a meteorologist. I don't know if the hurricane's going to hit. And Florida State's Florida State.
No, it's the trap angle. It'd be BC or pass.
Yeah.
I am going to be careful. Now, if I was red hot last week, I'd get loose.
You'd play BC.
Oh, I'd lob a bomb at BC, but I'm going to stay away. But I think you capped it right. And if people want to get crazy, that's a possible teaser game. That's a game where you tease that, and now all of a sudden you got BC getting 32. I think it's a tease candidate.
I think it's a tease candidate, sure.
For later, for please or tease.
Yes.
Noon has a number of these difficult games. Let's move right into another game that I think this is an I got you $1 special. Penn State, who might be the best team in the Big Ten, laying 14.5 at Illinois. And I'm sorry. I told you I was down on Illinois. Mm-hmm. They've done nothing to make me feel different. But this would be a spot if you played it. I can't believe I'm uttering these words. If you play it, you got to go Brett Bielema's poncho. I don't know if I got the chops for it. Do you?
I think that's the side because, yes, Penn State's running the ball and Illinois is getting run over. That's like the surface level analysis. Penn State going to roll. However, if there's any degree of respect for Illinois, and this is year 3, Bielema, trenches, this is the spot where you'd play him. Drew Aller. How closely did you watch that Saturday night game against West Virginia? And I asked that because
I didn't
a lot
openly.
going on. Aller got away with 2 first-half interceptions that were dropped. And this is his first road environment as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
If he makes an oops-a-daisy, it's a road game, Illinois bows up a little bit, Bielema trenches, you got 14 in the hook in your back pocket. If I bet this one, it would be Illinois.
You're not, though, are you?
I'm not. There's another noon game I am going to bet, though. Not this one. Are you going to bet this?
I just can't get it out of my mind what Illinois has looked like. And we are still talking about James Franklin. We are still talking about the first true road test. It's a conference game. And what did I promise myself? I promised I wouldn't lay big points on the road, especially in conference games. But I'm with you. Noon, I have a different game I want to play. But I don't know that you even put it on the sheet.
Did we miss one?
We got a film reference here. The film 7, What's in the Box. It ain't Gwyneth Paltrow's head. It's a game you didn't put on here, but go ahead.
I see it now. You typed it.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's a live document, and I updated it live. Go to the game. You give the people a pick. Shake your ass a little bit and pick for the people.
Why don't I start with the Costa lock?
I'm not. I'm not. I'll tell you right now, if you're going to lock this game, I'm going to use that key. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We've got LSU minus 9.5 in Starkville, Mississippi.
Stark Vegas.
As the Bulldogs play a noon kick on ESPN. I'm Costa locking Mississippi State.
Give the reasons, give the breakdown, give the cap, and I will see if I can bless this.
Bulldogs defense, 10 senior starters. They got a linebacker duo that went 1 and 2 in the SEC in tackles, pair 100 tackle dudes. Last week, their defense, 9 TFLs, 4 INTs, 8 pass breakups, and they got a 4-year starter, a quarterback that can sling it, cover a spread, hang around at home, Mississippi State. You play defense, you score enough points, you cover 9.5.
True. Now, my question is, what do we know about this team? Now, again, they played Southeastern
They promoted
Louisiana.
their defensive coordinator to head coach. I'm banking defense for Mississippi State against Daniels, who I don't think you love as a passer from LSU. He'll put the ball in harm's way, both as a runner, he'll put his body in harm's way, and he'll leave the ball in some dangerous areas. All it takes is a turnover to flip this game, and I'm not even looking at outright money line. We're talking vitamins, 9.5.
My issue is I don't love the value in the number.
You wish it was 10 or 10.5.
Yeah, and I know, unicorns and wishes. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is there any element of this where you look at this game and go, can I get a better number live? That's my one concern with you taking the 9.5 pregame.
Well, okay, the other side of the coin is we capped this right.
Cowbells and chaos, and
You never
see
end up getting the
9.5
number.
again.
Yeah.
It would be Mississippi State or pass.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of taking 9.5 when you saw 10s earlier in the week, that really bothers me. The other angle, it's a noon kick. Now, the noon kick could work. You wonder if that's a sleepy spot for
start.
LSU.
Yeah.
Who's LSU got next week?
Let's take a peek because we know week 4 is a better
Pull that up.
week.
Pull that up. I'm just interested. Is
If
it a
there any
little
look
bit of
ahead.
a... what is it?
Now, yes and no. Next week, they get a home game against Arkansas that is a rivalry, the boot trophy deal.
Yeah.
They're not any good.
Yeah.
They're average.
Rocket Sanders.
Yeah.
I like your play on the Bulldogs. I personally would want a better number. Okay. But I respect it. Oh, by the way, it's Stripe the Stadium.
For
in
the
Starkville.
Bulldogs, yeah.
Stripe the Stadium, people. Bring your cowbells. No, the noon game I wanted to ask you about, I can't believe we're not on this. This is the most bullshit line of the week.
It's been moving too, hasn't it?
Yeah, this was when I was kind of grinding on some of the games. KSU -5 at Missouri in a noon kick. Time of taping here now on Thursday. KSU's laying 3.5 at Mizzou. How are we not on the Tigers here?
Because it's too easy, Kansas State.
That's what I'm saying. How
Yeah.
are we not on the Tigers?
Yeah.
Tigers, by the way, 8% of tickets make up 16% of the money.
Did you like them in the SEC preview? I forgot.
I thought they were going, them and Kentucky were my two. I don't love Tennessee. More on that later.
Yep.
I don't love South Carolina. Sure as hell no one loves Vanderbilt. I don't think their own family likes them. I thought Missouri had a chance to be pretty good. And K-State away from the Little Apple. This is a weird game. You're going on the road. I kind of like Mizzou getting a 3.5 here in a bit of a grimy defensive game. Now, again, I don't love Eli Drinkowitz. I sure as hell don't love their offense. But, Jim, that number looks so strange. Any thought process to taking the 3.5 here with the home team, sleepy noon kick, for a team that in the SEC at least I thought had some upside in the East?
Well, and isn't it basically an 11 o'clock kick time zone-wise for them, so early? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a time zoneologist.
Okay. But I like Kansas State overall as a team. Don't you? I mean, they brought back Howard and good offensive line, and Kleiman's the reigning Big 12 champ.
So why is it 3.5?
I don't know.
You got to ask yourself
this is the
these
system,
questions.
not a system, makes its way to college football edition.
I didn't say it's system, not a system. Now, here's your problem.
Well, the whole deal is it doesn't make sense. Home side getting points.
Here's the other problem. Missouri last week played a god-awful Middle Tennessee State team and only won 23-19. Why is this number 3.5? They played South Dakota in week 1. Mizzou's played no one. Why is it 3.5?
I don't know. Squirrely.
When
so
you
want to add it to your
don't know
card?
the answer,
Okay.
you ride.
See, I'm trying not to be talked into more games,
Fair.
so I'm not going to play this. But why don't you put it on your card? You take your Tigers.
I want to put it under advisement.
Okay.
I want to. Can we star that? Come back to me at the
yeah.
end of the broadcast here, because I'm trying to be careful. How many games did I actually have? See, I had 5 games on here.
This is 6-pack for you.
You want the 6-pack?
Yeah.
All right. It's under advisement. I'll get to it at the later stages of the broadcast. Go ahead. Let's get to the next game.
We are out of the noon window, and we go into the 3:30 window. But first, this weird 2:30 start. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, top 10 in America, minus 34.5 against the Chips on Peacock. Can we have a conversation about Notre Dame?
Yeah, because there ain't nothing to talk about your dog.
No, I agree. This is not here for me to, pimp the Chips.
45-42 over New Hampshire? What the hell's wrong with you?
Yikes. And I showed you some of Bert's prowess throwing the ball.
You can't throw the forward pass.
No.
Any interest in laying in 34.5?
That's the side I'd play. But I wanted to ask you, Notre Dame, is this a legit 10, 11 win team? Is there a playoff conversation ahead for Notre Dame?
I mean, next week they play Ohio State, so that's the tough part. But look, what they did to NC State was impressive. I mean, they were up 7. It's a tough road environment. Tony Gibson's defense is nothing to play with. And they ran away from them at the end. They're physical. Estime is as physical a running back as there is. Jim, I actually got to tell you something. I'm coming around on them. I'm coming around on Notre Dame because remember we did the preview? Everything coming out of South Bend to start the year was, we are physical. We're going to hit you. This is not a glamour team, and they're doing it. And look, they'll maul CMU. I have no interest either side of this number. I do have one big spread I was going to play this week in honor of you. But it's not this. I actually look at this and I go, you know what? They're like a welfare version of Michigan. And I wonder about next week against OSU. Ryan Day, hey, buddy, you're getting a preview of what the Wolverines are going to bring to the table.
I'm excited to bet the Irish next week.
I wonder if Notre Dame's the Huckleberry to actually do this.
I thought last
come
year,
around on them.
Well, last year they flipped the script, won 6 of the last 7, and they did it with this physical identity.
Yeah.
Now you take that, it's still there, and you add a quarterback who can throw down the field. That's an 11-win team. That's a team that gets Ohio State at South Bend, team that gets USC in South Bend, and goes to Clemson, which no longer looks as daunting. That's an 11-win Notre Dame team.
Any interest in Sam Hartman plus 1,000 to win the Heisman?
Brand, Golden
Notre Dame
Domers.
quarterback, handsome devil.
And he's got this necklace story with like pieces of his ribs.
Okay, that just creeps me out. Any interest in, I mean, look, if you're all in on the Irish, do you want their national title odds?
What is it?
I'm going to get them for you.
Yeah,
Any
dig 'em
interest in him to win the Heisman?
I mean, at plus 1,000, we're getting what's the deal here?
Value. Okay, you can now put that away. Notre Dame to start the year was plus 3,000. Let me pull it up right now. Hold,
Probably cut in
please.
half.
Notre Dame sits at plus 2,200.
Oh, so not quite yet. Now, if they beat Ohio State, this is what we talk about.
All
when
right.
to bet the futures
Okay,
before
mean
they
boy.
beat Ohio
Plant
State.
your flag.
I don't think they're winning the national title, but I think if you do, this is the time to bet it.
He disappoints me, Evan.
Oh.
If Notre Dame goes 11-1, they make the playoff.
You think so?
In. Yes.
What are their odds to make the playoff? Because I'd be more willing to bet that.
This guy, I just X'd out of it.
Oh, boy.
You pull it up. Why don't you pull that up while I go to the next game?
Okay.
And I tell people for the first time in my life, I'm going to come on these airwaves and I'm going to do something that is inconceivable. Inconceivable. I'm going to take a team I hate. Inconceivable. I'm going to take a team I hate on the road. Unthinkable. I'm going to take a team I hate on the road laying a huge number. I'm unrecognizable. Alabama laying 32.5 at South Florida. Why? It's a Saban revenge game. I was doing some digging, and while Nick Saban doesn't lose often, when he loses, God help the team who plays him next week. They smash people, and against the number, Saban is nearly 60%, which, by the way, we always say it, 60%, you'd kill your mom to hit that amount of games. Here's the thing. South Florida, if you go by power rankings, South Florida is very similar to Middle Tennessee State. Alabama beat Middle Tennessee State 52-7. I'm actually going to lay to 32.5 that Bama's in a get-right spot here. They're pissed off. They've dealt with Nick the Prick all week. Everyone's told them how shitty they are. You want to work out the kinks? You want to get right? Boy, South Florida will be your huckleberry. I think Alabama goes and drops a 50 burger and crushes. And I'll take the historical trend. Trend betting's not that great, but I like this. I think Saban's going to demand a sharp performance here. I'm laying 32.5.
This is incredible. You're laying points on the road in college football.
I learned it by watching you. It's like the little commercial where the dad comes in with the box of crack. Who taught you how to do this? I learned it by watching you.
Evan, it took till week 3 of this year. Mike is laying 30 points on the road. Never thought I'd see the day.
Okay, take me through.
I'm not telling you the Cap's wrong. I'm on one hand very proud because these are games that you just didn't even consider before. No. This is a whole new world.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Singing.
I part of it is this card. Part of it is I had to find 5 or 6 plays for the people because if I didn't do this podcast, I might bet 1 or 2 games tops. Listen, do you hate, lukewarm, like, or love the Cap? Like, you know, on a pick level.
So Bama is built with these 350-pound offensive linemen to lean on you and run the ball. And while they're not as dynamic, they don't need to be. And when they're up 3 scores, 4 scores, what are they going to do? Run the ball and go up 5 scores.
Make it 6.
Make it 7. Yeah, I think you're on the right side. The whole Nick Saban fired up. He said the problems were fixable. Now you and I may disagree, but they're fixable against Southern Florida.
And where do you fix them? You fix them in a game like this.
Yep.
You fix them where now my fear. This is a planet Earth game.
Everybody's betting.
Everyone's on Bama. Yeah. Everyone. I mean, it's a grave fear. If there's a game I'm willing to kick off my card, it's this.
I think you keep it in the spirit of trying new things, Mike.
I'm going to get my head taken off, aren't I? All right, let's go to the
Before
next.
we move on,
yeah.
Notre Dame to make the playoff, plus 500 FanDuel. 5-1 to make the playoff. I think you play it.
I want you to play.
I'll play.
I want you to play that.
Right
You can play that live.